Hello and welcome to this Java tutorial. So in the previous chapter, we went through the loops in Java where we discussed the for loop, while loop and do while loop. So in this chapter, actually, we'll discuss the two keywords break and continue, which are closely related with the loops in Java. So let's start with the working of break and continue. So when you are working with loops in the Java programming language, there may be a scenario where you will want to skip certain iterations or you may want to terminate the loop entirely. So for these two scenarios, you have two control statements in Java. So if you want to skip certain iterations, you'll use continue. If you want to terminate the loop entirely, you will use break statement. All right. So let's start with break statement first. So where will you use it? So one thing is, if you have followed how I have laid out this course, then you have already seen the use of break with switch case, right? You remember with case you give break statement to break out of the case. As soon as you have a matching case, it will execute that and break out of that case. So that is the job of break. Whenever or wherever it is used, it will break out of that thing. So when you are using it with a loop, whenever a break statement is encountered within a loop, any loop, for loop, while loop, or do while loop, the loop is immediately terminated. So you will come out of this loop wherever you have that break statement. So control will move to the statement immediately following the loop, right? And there is also a labeled break statement. So you can give a name to your break statement, some label, and you, when you are coming out of the loop, you can give that label that I want to break up to that label. So that actually you will use when you are in a very complex nested structure and it is not used very frequently. You may not use it at all actually, but we'll go through all the examples to see how these are used. So let's go through some examples of break statement to see how it is actually used with loops in Java. Alright, so I've already created a class within basic.loops package named break demo, and here I've given some requirement also for our first program. So suppose you are given a requirement that you have to start a loop which prints number from 1 to 50, but you have to stop completely whenever you reach the second multiple of 7. So your loop should work from, let's say I'm using for loop, int I equal to 1, I less than equal to 50, and I plus plus. But you should start as soon as you go through the second multiple of 7. So we have to manage the count also of multiple of 7. So let's start with 0 count, right? And what we can do in that case is if I modulus 7 equal to 0, right? In that case, what we should do is we can increase the count. We should use this. And then we can also check if count equal to 2, right? First time it will become 1, then it should not go. If count equal to 2, then break, right? In that case, it should break when count is 2. For second multiple, come out of the loop, right? So we can put something here also. Out of loop plus check the count also. What is the value of count right now? And we can print here, call it here, to actually print number also, right? So I, now if we print, Till print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14 out of loop. Count is 2. Right? So that shows the use of break. As soon as the count is 2, it will encounter this break statement. And as soon as the break statement is encountered, control will come out of the for loop. So it will completely come out of the loop. It will come here, line 24. That is why you see this out of loop as soon as 14, which means count will be 2 when 14 comes, second multiple of 7. So that is our first example. Now suppose we have to do linear search. That is a very good example of break actually. That again uses the array, and you have to find something within the array. So let's start with first creating an array, then I'll tell you what needs to be done. So int num equal to, let's say I have an array with some numbers 4, 7, 17, 8, 3, 28, 13. Okay, these many are enough. And search, and we pass this number. Okay, and we'll get a number, or let's say result equal to search num. Okay, so we will have one public, we are sending back, so int will be the return type search, and we'll get this array. So parameter will be for array. Now what you have to do is you have to search a number. So we have to pass actually a second parameter, which number we have to search, num and n, and in 10 equal to, let's say 4 initially, or let's say 17 I want to search. So if you are searching for 17, right, in the second iteration itself it will get that number, right? You start from here. If this number is equal to 17, no, then it will come here. If this number is equal to 17, yes. So you have found your number here itself, then there is no sense in going through the whole array, right? You can come out of this loop where you are iterating and finding or searching this number, should come out of that array here itself, right? So that is where break can help. Why go through the whole array? When you have found here, come out of the loop and return this number itself. So you can optimize your search by using the break here. So that is the point. Now let's write the logic. So search, I think it has to be static. So let's make it static. Now we have to go through the array. So we can use the for each loop actually. Int, and also we have used, so what should I name it? Number and num. If number equal to n, break, and break the time itself, right? We have to actually return also. What we can do is use one boolean flag equal to false. Okay. Here I'll make it found equal to true, and that is what I'll return. Return flag. Let's make it boolean. Here also boolean. If result, that means out found number we already have here, right? Use that, and else not found. We can do like this. All right. So I'll comment this one. Let's not do one. Print numbers. So if this end, I'm searching for 17. So found 17. Now suppose I give some number which is not there, 21. Then it will go through the whole array and come out with not found. Let's do with 17 again. What is happening is it will go here. Every time it will take one element out of that array and assign it to this number. And what we are searching for is 17. So in the first iteration, it will assign 4 to the number. So is 4 equal to 17? No. It will go to the second iteration, 17. 17 equal to 17? Yes. So it will go into this if. Flag will become true. It will break. Break means it will come out of this for loop. It will come here. And flag is also assigned true value. So it will return that flag as true. It will come here as true. And it will print found 17. That is the whole logic. And as I said, you have optimized your code here because you are coming out of your loop as soon as the number is found, which is in the second iteration itself. Then no need to go through the whole array. So that is again one example of break where it makes sense to break out of that loop. Linear search, actually it is called linear search. Then let's say I have one more example where what you can do is suppose so this is the requirement for the third exercise. Keep asking the user for a password until they enter the correct one. Use break to exit once the correct password is entered. And then we can change the code to include continue also once we start doing continue. Okay, so I can create one more method, public static, let's say void only, password check. Since you need user input, so we need scanner equal to new scanner system dot in, right? Out, enter password. I'll use the simple logic only, no masking and all. String pwd password equal to sc dot next. All right, so I have password. Now what I can do is, so this is our basic structure. Now we have to write this logic. We have to keep asking the user for a password. That means we have to keep doing it in a loop. So here what we can do is, we don't know how many times, right? So we can do is as while true, which is a infinite loop kind of, right? We don't have a definite number that user will not give a correct password in 3 times or 5 times or 10 times. So what we can use here is while true. Let's say what we are looking for is password is secret. So if pwd dot for string equality, actually use equals, so equals and in double quotes secret with capital S. If this is there, that means correct password. So let's say you say welcome, and then you can break. Otherwise, you will be in a loop. Then I can call it from here, password check. I run it, it will ask for password. Let's say I give something else. I say password only. Then it will go back here again. Enter password, right? Because we are doing in a loop, enter password. I've entered password is equal to secret. No. So no breaking. It will go back again to the loop. Again asking password. Let's say I give secret. Then it should go in this if condition, welcome and break. Break means it will come out to this line, right? Out of that loop. So these are some examples of break statement where we have seen it with for loop, for breaking out of for loop. We have used it with for each also, then with while also. So based on the scenario, you can use the correct loop and then the break to come out as soon as what you want you got, right? So you can say it is kind of optimization also. Don't have to keep repeating your loop, right? If you have got what you want, come out of that loop. You can also use break statement with nested loops, and actually it will break out of the loop where you place it, right? If you place it within the context of inner loop, then it will break out of inner loop, or if you put it in the context of outer loop, then it will come out of the outer loop. So let's try to understand it with one example. Suppose public void nested with break. So I have some inner loop, I mean outer loop I equal to 0, I less than equal to 4. So I'm printing some numbers, right? 1 to 10, let's say 5 times. So which we did with for nested loop also in the previous chapter. So here let's say j less than equal to 10 j plus plus, right? In that case, I can just give this as print j plus cases, and I go to the next line after this inner loop, right? And let me call it from here with break, and I'll comment this one, otherwise it will stop to ask for password. So I get right 1 to 10 5 times. Now suppose in between I want to break. If j equal to 5, break. So I'm coming out of this inner loop, right? It is within the context of inner loop right now, this break. So it will only break out of this inner loop. What it means, let's see here. If you see, outer loop is still running 5 times, right? So we have 5 rows, but now columns also are 5 because of this rather than 10, because every time we are breaking. So I is 0, we go to the inner loop, starts with printing j 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then j is 5, then this condition becomes true. If j is 5, yes. Then it encounters this break statement, which means it will come out of this loop, right? That means it will go to the other iteration of this outer loop. So it will start again, j from 1, again 1 to 5, break, again next iteration of outer loop, and so on. So that is how you can place a break statement within a nested loop. If we have 3 loops, if you put it in the context of third loop, it will come out only of the third loop. If I put it somewhere here, break, that means it is for the outer loop. So it will come out of the outer loop itself. Right now I'm getting error because then nothing of this will work, right? So I have unreachable code. Let me put it here, break, and comment this. If I run with this, it will print only till 5. Here I have break, here again I have break. So anyway, it will run only once. So what is happening here is, if you see, it will start with 0. It will go to the inner loop, 1 to 5. As soon as 5 comes, it will go to the break. It will come out of the inner loop. As soon as it comes out of the inner loop, we have another break. which is in the context of outer loop. So it will break out of this also. That is why we have only once. Then there is also a concept of labeled break. So let's do something similar only with labeled break. So I'll copy the same thing, nested with labeled break. Okay, and that is what I'll call from here, nested with labeled break. This is for nested with break, nested loop with break. And this is for nested loop with labeled break. What you can do is you can put a label here. So suppose I name it outer loop and you have to put colon. So when you are breaking, right, you can give from where you want to break. You can give the name. So when we give a label here, though the break statement is within the context of this inner loop, but it will break out of this label. That means full, right? Outer loop also, because this label is here. So it will break this whole thing. Wherever you have label, it will break from there. So again, I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 actually. This is commented, right? So that is why it is coming the same line, or so that you don't get confused. Let's break this. I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it will come here, it will work till 5, break, but from outer loop itself. So it will come here, it will break out of everything. So that is why we are getting it till 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 only once. That is how you can use the labeled break. And as I said, it is not very common. You may not use it at all. It is not even suggested to be used because it changes the control abruptly. So it is recommended also that you should not use labeled break. But if you have a very complex nested structure, then you may use it. So that is all for break statement. Now we can go to the continue statement. So suppose I have a loop with some conditions, but suppose while executing that loop repeatedly, some condition is met and you don't want to execute the rest of the statements within the loop, then you can use continue. So it will continue with the next iteration of the loop. So as soon as a continue statement is found in any loop, it will go to the beginning of the loop, discarding all the statements that come after continue. It will jump to the beginning of the loop. That is what continue does. So in case of while loop or do while loop, continue statement will go to the condition check of the loop. Whereas for loop, it will go to this increment or decrement part and then condition check. So it will jump to the beginning of the loop. That is what you do with the continue statement. Now let's do some examples to understand continue statement better. So I've already created a class continue demo in basics.loops. And this is the requirement. We'll do a simple one. Print numbers from 1 to 20, but skip all even numbers. Right. So I have to skip all the even numbers. So first thing I can create a loop I equal to 1, I less than equal to 20. So we have to go through 20, 1 to 20, right? So that will be my loop. And I can print I. If I print like this, I'll get everything, right? 1 to 20. But what I need is that I should only get all the odd numbers. What I can do is if I percent to modulus is 0, that means it is completely divisible by 2. That means it is a even number. Then we can continue. That means it will skip this, right? Let's run it to see. We get 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19 odd numbers. So let's say when it comes to 2, so 2 modulus 2 is 0. That means it will come here to continue statement. As soon as continue is encountered, it will go to the beginning of the loop. Again, it will come here. I will become 3. 3 less than 20, yes. This time 3 modulus 2 is not 0, so it will come here. And it will print 3. Again for 4, it will completely divide, so continue. Go back in the beginning. Discard this statement. It will not come here. That is what you can do with continue. So this is also one way of printing odd and even numbers using continue statement. So here is another requirement. Suppose I want to print numbers from 1 to 30 but skip numbers divisible by 3. Very similar to this actually. What you have to do is you have to check for 3 this time rather than 2. So public static void print numbers. I'll have again a for loop where I'll check from int I equal to 1 from I less than equal to 30. That is my loop. 1 to 30. And I have to print that number I, but I have to skip the numbers which are completely divided by 3. In that case, I can continue. So I'll skip all the numbers divisible by 3. Then I can put it here and run it. So this is for the first one. This is for the second one. 1, 2, 3 is skipped. 4, 5, 6 is skipped. 9 is skipped. 12 is skipped. 15 is skipped. 18 is skipped. So it is not going to the numbers which are completely divisible by 3, skipping all those numbers like 18 and 15, 12 and so on. So that is again one example. And if we go to this example, right, where we were looking for the password, let's uncomment it. Password check, right? Now suppose I want to make some changes to use both break and continue. What I can do here is, so if you see requirement, keep asking the user for a password until they enter the correct one. So if I want to give some message if the password is wrong, right? What I can do is I can make some change. Let's say I say if not password equals to secret. If it is not equal to secret, in that case, what I can do is I can give some message. Wrong password and continue. Continue means again go back and ask for password, right? Else part I can give here. Else welcome break. Otherwise come out of this while loop because you have entered the right password. With this, if I do enter password, let's say I give something else, password. It says wrong password and again asks for password. So here I've now used both break and continue. Then if I say secret, should come out, welcome. Then it is going to some other method nested with labeled break. That is why I'm getting this. All right. So makes it more user friendly, right? You give some message also, wrong password using continue. So you can use both also like this. So these are some examples. I guess we have done a lot of examples using break and continue with loops. So that is all for this chapter where we have gone through the break and continue statements and how they can be used with loops in Java. Thanks for watching the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.